Jordan Peterson. We are going to be talking about Jordan Peterson this morning. I don't know if you have heard of him. I'm sure you have. I mean, I don't think there's any possibility you haven't heard of Jordan Peterson yet. But he is a Canadian psychologist, author, and commentator. He began to receive widespread attention in the late 2010s for his views on cultural and political issues, often characterized as conservative. Peterson has described himself as a classical liberal and a traditionalist. I'm going to give my opinion, like my views, from a distance, what I think of him. First of all, I'll say this. I think he's wonderful. I love Jordan Peterson. I got to start it off with that. There's a lot to break down. I think he's next level. He's next level, but we'll get into it. Without going any further, today this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees. In fact, they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. Now that's important. So you should check out the HelloFresh link in the video, as well as, or in the description of the podcast. So my name is Brandon Fogal. This is Evolution. I've wanted to do a video over Jordan Peterson for a while now. If I'm watching any podcast, I'm a lot of times watching his as well as a podcast he goes on to. So I'm absolutely thrilled to talk about him. But without further ado, I'm going to actually show a couple clips from his video that he did on the podcast Diary of a CEO. If you haven't checked this out, you should definitely go find it. It's really, really good. I would say this is almost his more like recent video he's done, and he gave his, as blunt as Jordan Peterson can be, he gave his view, what he said he believed about Jesus and God. We'll see that clip in a second, but let's actually just take a look at this first.
In a simple way that I can understand, do you believe in a man in the sky God? Do you believe in it's a
well,
force?
That's not as primitive.
There's Jordan Peterson right there,
as the atheists would have you believe.
What is it you believe?
Well, there isn't anything more complex in the known universe than a human brain. So if you want a model for reality as such, like proclaiming that it has something akin to the structure of the human psyche is not an absurd claim, given that is the most complex thing by far that we know of.
Okay, and then I want to show one other clip, which is this is almost, if you go to and the link to that video is in the description as well. You should definitely go check it out. I'm also always watching A Diary of a CEO. It is an awesome podcast. If you have not found that one, I would definitely throw that out there. You should definitely go check out that podcast. It is amazing. I've watched so many of their videos. Another clip I wanted to just quickly show is this is probably the highlight. For me it was, and a lot of people that have talked about this video so far, was this moment, because he keeps asking Jordan, because I've seen this, and I've just watched in a video with Jordan Peterson discussing religious matters with Alex O'Connor recently, and sometimes it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating for the podcaster, the host, the interviewer that is asking Jordan, so what do you believe? Can you break that down? What you're saying, is it says one thing, but like to the masses, it might not come across the same way that you're intending. So can you kind of break that down? And Alex, he keeps asking over and over. And that was from like months back, probably about 7 months back that he did that video. But this is a more recent one. And on Diary of CEO, he asks him point blank. He says, because he keeps asking over and over, and he doesn't want to harp on it, but he does. And he just says to Jordan point blank, what do you believe about God? What does that mean to you?
I'm going to ask you again, because I want to be clear. Is what is the God you believe in?
I think that the claim that Christ is the embodiment of the prophet and the laws, I think that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, that's complicated. It's very complicated.
Here it is.
But I think it's true.
So you believe that Jesus was
God?
God.
Yeah, I think if you understand what that means, that it's indisputable.
All right, so there it is. And I know a lot of people have done discussions over this, of Jordan saying that, because he gets asked that point blank. He's not shy away from like not saying that Jesus, he believes in Christianity or he believes in God. He doesn't like being asked the question, do you believe in God? Because when you're like almost talking next level with Jordan, and I was thinking about this yesterday, he almost speaks on a level as I would hear Jesus himself speak. because a lot of things he's talking beyond what our mind comprehends immediately. He's talking like almost on a spiritual, deeper level. I don't know Jordan Peterson's heart. I don't know what he fundamentally believes, but based on his words, I would say he's a Christian. I mean, that's the thing. I don't like being labeled something either. I mean, I'll be labeled Christian all day long. I would definitely take that with a badge of honor, but I know he doesn't like to. People don't want to be put in a box and say, "You're on my team. You're on my. We got this guy. We got this guy." And it just becomes this litmus test whether you are on my side or not. And I don't. In Jordan Peterson, he always is pushing back against that, and rightly so. I understand that you don't want to be just reduced to that, and that's all you are. But he gets asked point blank, "So you believe Jesus is God?" And he says, "Yeah." And I think it's indisputable. And the video I was watching yesterday with him and Alex O'Connor, Alex was asking him things, and it's hard to even pin him down on his views sometimes. Because he is talking on deeper, more transcendent levels, it seems. Like his way of thinking is just so layer upon layer, and it's how do you get down to underneath the surface of the core of what it is? I think sometimes, do we even know ourselves? Do we even know ourselves, and can we even put ourselves on the bed and let us analyze our own mind, analyze our own heart? What do we really believe? What are we thinking? I think we can to an extent. We can't do it perfectly. And Jordan, I don't know if what he would say on some fundamental issues, like fundamental things about Christianity, about God. He's made it clear that he believes that Jesus is God. We just heard it right there. And it's indisputable, but there's a lot there. And he'll always say, well, and what does that mean? What does that mean? And for him, it's hard to even just really dial it down and really understand what he means by that. Because words have meaning. Words definitely have meaning, and they convey thoughts, and they're trying to convey what's in my mind so I can grasp what's in yours, so that we can be speaking the same language. I want to know what you understand on this issue, and you can understand what I mean. But sometimes it's tough. It's definitely tough. And when he says that Jesus is God, that is indisputable. First of all, amen. Heck yes. And there's a lot of things when you're going on the stage, as opposed to just being one-on-one with someone. And you're not even being recorded. You're just one-on-one, maybe in the privacy of your home, with your wife, your children. And you're sharing what you believe about this universe, what you believe about God himself, what you believe about yourself. And it is so easy to put up walls. It is so easy to put up defense mechanisms, because a lot of times, and I've found myself doing this, I don't want to go there in the recesses of my mind. I want some things, I don't want to entertain the thought of some things. I want to just live life. I want to not be thinking about things that have real consequences, and my actions have real consequences. I want to just fundamentally just put on Netflix, scroll through my phone. I want to mentally check out, not be in this world, because when we get down to hard, real issues, sometimes it can make you squirm, and sometimes I don't even myself want to put myself out there, because I don't want to be even thinking about some of those things. It's much easier and much funner just to throw on another show of Office or Friends and let's just check out. Let's not think about this world is real, and what's beyond this world. What's going to happen when we take our final breath? I mean, just thinking about that is kind of it's very tough. Death is the greatest adventure. It's the greatest adventure we are all going to experience someday. So it's tough when you actually think about it. I mean, that's why sometimes dark humor is the only release. It's fun to just say, I don't know, and just laugh about it, because that's the only thing we can actually do. Because when we think about it, it can be very heavy, very heavy. And I don't know if with Jordan Peterson, I don't know if that is what's happening sometimes. I mean, of course, he's got language, vocabulary, thoughts, that are next level, that are speaking, like I said, like Jesus. Because when Jesus spoke to his apostles, they were always not understanding what he was meaning. They didn't get it. Over and over, they did not understand what Jesus was saying when he was saying the things he did. And he was like, over and over saying, are you still so dull? Like you don't understand what I'm clearly communicating? And I get the apostles. I would have been the same way. I would have been, Jesus, you're the Son of God. You are, and what all that means, all we know is you know how to say peace and be still to the waves of the sea, and they obey you. That's pretty crazy. So Jesus, you came from God. We believe that. So it's like, just that we don't understand everything immediately. I mean, there's got to be grace in that. And I think he definitely does. But a lot of his chiding the apostles of their lack of understanding was almost like, so it could be recorded, so that it could show that these apostles weren't supermen themselves. They were regular guys like you and like me. It shows the humanity of them, of how, like, we would have been the same way. We would have been the same way. So Jordan Peterson, speaking on these next levels, does he not want to go there sometimes? Does he feel like he doesn't want to go there, and he doesn't? There is an element of that, because in human psychology, the human brain, we don't want to. We want to block out things that we don't want to think about. We want to push back because, and if you've seen videos of Jordan Peterson, I mean, him breaking down, like talking about with Christ, and there is a progression in any person's life of coming closer and closer to the light. And once you get closer and closer to the light, things can heat up. Things can be exposed. Things can have to be turned away from and let go and go forward. And that's where it gets very tough, because you never know if someone's heart, because there's always something holding us back from letting go and clinging to Christ. Because we can't fully cling to Christ. We can't hold something in our hand and try to grab everything we can on Jesus. We have to let everything go. Everything. Jump in. Jesus says to a rich man, sell all your possessions, give it to the poor. And what do you think that rich person does? He runs and sells all his possessions? No. He goes away sad. And that's not to say that every person is supposed to sell everything, but in a real fundamental sense, yeah, every person is supposed to sell everything. That might not mean materially, physically, like selling all your possessions, but your heart has to let go of everything. And if money, if prestige, if like your influence, and you're scared that you're going to lose a following, you're scared that that other people are going to look at you differently if you step out for Christ, you might have to let that go. You might, because there's always something. Is there something in your mind and in your heart that immediately, I got this one thing, and I can't let go of it? That's probably for, like the rich man money was in possessions. That might be it for you. And it was for me, and it still is daily. It's for me. There's always something I got to let go. And there's always the conviction that comes. And that's why I found that, like, people they're atheists, because I love listening to people that are atheists. And I've found listening to them, and I think this goes with anybody, anyone that struggles with what they believe, and because if you got to constantly reinforce it and you got to just berate people over the head with what you believe, it's probably a defense mechanism in yourself that you have to just continue just to throw fuel on the fire so you believe it yourself. And I think this goes with Christians as well. This goes with me as well in certain things, because I've had in my life, and if I don't feel like I understand and got it right, and I'm throwing up a defense mechanism, if there's a lack of confidence, I will try to push that on other people. And I don't know what it is. Because I did come out of things that were not a part of Christ, and at a time when I was deceived. But I kept pushing it on other people because it was a lack of confidence in myself. Of I don't know if what I'm believing is right. So I got to push it on them. I got to push it on them, like almost let them be my testing area. And if other people are believing it, that's reinforcing what I believe. And if they're not, that's scary. Am I living a lie? Am I following a lie? And I say this about atheists because just watching Alex O'Connor, because I love Alex O'Connor. There's nothing I'm watching more than Alex O'Connor. But he's always going out and picking through the Christian faith in a lot of ways. And there's got to be something more there that is driving that, because when we really throw away all the covers and we see what's bare bones underneath, like, what is your own faith? What is your own worldview? Why do you feel like you need to push your own faith or your own beliefs, your own understanding of this world on everybody else? Why do you have to continue to reinforce that? Is it because you lack something, confidence in what you really believe? Because, I mean, there is a difference with Christianity. Jesus said, go and spread the gospel. But there was no atheist Jesus saying, go and spread atheism or agnosticism or belief that there is no God. So there is a difference there. And I think a lot of times Christians are reluctant to share their faith because it's not as well received. It's not that well received. When you start talking about things that are going to be of eternal consequence, it's not always going to be the life of the party. It's not always going to be the brightest thing in the room. It's tough. But as a Christian, you have to continue to move forward. Anyways, this video was mainly about Jordan Peterson. There's a lot there. Him saying that he believes that Jesus is God. Him openly saying it. He just said it straight out. And he had to be asked it a couple times, you know? He's definitely got some major influence, and the way that he's going to live out the rest of his life, live out the rest of his time, and use his platform. And I think there's not many people that are doing a greater job in just basically talking about, bringing up the conversation of the Bible and Jesus, getting people to think. But he's got to, you know, there is a sense you got to completely dive in and be sold out, you know, and maybe he's thinking next level. Maybe he's thinking next level beyond what I can comprehend. So we'll leave it at that. Peace, everyone.